I guess we should get to the huge ass Xbox leaks.
Yes.
So yeah, during the whole court case thing, the whole Microsoft and Bethesda Activision buyout thing, a lot of this stuff got leaked. It just got leaked, I guess. And there's a lot of really interesting stuff here. So the first thing is Xbox had like a bunch of plans for more accessibility stuff. So they had like a one-handed controller, mobile controllers, and stuff. And this is interesting because one of them looks like a Switch.
Yes.
So I don't know if they were gonna delve into that. And also the controller looks like it has pants, so that's that's pretty interesting. But this isn't that far off from what Microsoft usually likes to do. Like they've been pretty good with accessibility options as well. So like them kind of doubling down with that sort of stuff seems like about what they would do. So yeah, like that, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a shit. There's a lot of shit here.
Yes.
So anyone you want to pick out or?
Okay, well, the first thing I really want to talk about is their, I guess, like next generation hybrid console or whatever the hell they were trying to do.
Yeah.
So that was like, I think it was cloud, something like that. Let me see if I can find it.
So yeah, it's supposed to be a hybrid cloud system with like for the next gen console. So apparently, according to this like leaks and stuff, this next generation Xbox is supposed to come out 2028. Again, we don't know. None of this is like confirmed or anything. This is all internal like memos and shit. But apparently they want this next generation of Xbox to come out 2028, and it's going to be using cloud technology to sort of help make the gaming experience even better than it is, according to them. So from this blurb here, it sounds like it would actually like sort of like work within like the Xbox console itself, right? Like you own the game and shit. But I think cloud technology would help performance, or it'll deliver graphics that it couldn't do normally either, which is weird. So it sounds like very like crazy. So I mean, this is like their whole next gen thing. But also it brings up concerns is like, would this work without internet connection? Because you need the cloud and shit. Would some games just not work? Or would this be another performance option? So you would have like maybe like a standard gameplay mode where the game doesn't look as good, or maybe you have like a cloud version where it looks better than it usually does or something. Again, we're not too sure because this is all still like very early in the drafts and stuff. But it is interesting to see like they're really embracing the cloud stuff. And we've always had really mixed reactions with the whole cloud stuff. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see what Microsoft does with that if they decide to go with it in the future,
Yeah, because like, cloud gaming in general, I think that was like a big thing that the FTC was like, are you going to embrace that kind of shit? And I think they kind of just threw it in there to be like, yeah, we're going to make our next generation console cloud, wink, wink, maybe not. I think that having the cloud and just like the internet capabilities of just like making the games look better, I think that just sounds silly and stupid. I don't know. I'm all for my games looking pretty, but if it doesn't perform at like a stable frame rate or whatever, like that's like what's most important to me. I feel like graphics are just like a sort of I guess like eye candy and sort of just like surface level kind of thing that I think most people should be worried about when it comes to playing games. Like the game doesn't have to look like 4K, 8K, whatever resolution, as long as it looks good and it's pleasing to the eyes and it runs stable, that's what I'm concerned about. But if they are using the cloud to make these games look better or whatever the case is, and I guess maybe it can work. I don't know. I feel like this is technology that is still kind of new, and I think that a lot of people may not even embrace it fully because a stable internet connection, it is becoming more common within the US, but even then it's still like kind of iffy within some areas.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty interesting direction to see. Mostly because, I'm so used to consoles just being like, it's just more powerful. Like, that's kind of been the case. Like, Nintendo's always been like the weird one to do weird shit. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see another company kind of go for something really weird. So we'll see how that pays off for them. Again, we're not even sure if this is like the full direction they're going to go for. But yeah, I'm just like you, like, I think games looking really pretty and nice is good. Like I always like having a good looking game. But at the end of the day, it still isn't the important thing about it. Like everything else is important. Like as long as the game runs fine and it looks good, like I'm okay with that. But it doesn't have to be like the most cutting edge thing ever. Like as long as the gameplay is like good. I mean things like Calypso Protocol, like that game was kind of mid. It looked really pretty. Like it's one of like the prettiest looking games I've seen. But yeah, like it's just kind of mid. So like at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah.
And of course, we have another really big thing here. Let me find it. Yeah, Phil Spencer wanted to like, he was in talks of like wanting to buy Nintendo. I know this is really making the rounds when this was like leaked out. Basically, it would be a career moment if he made it happen. I never see this ever happening. I don't even know why. Like, if he said this during the Wii U era, this would make sense. But he said this during August 2020. Like, the Switch was already like selling like crazy by that point. So I don't know why he thought he's like, oh yeah, we could just buy them. Like, what? That makes no sense. Like, obviously Nintendo's gonna say no, and then recently Capcom was like, yeah, if Xbox tries to buy us, we will also say no. So I'm not like a big fan of Phil Spencer being like, I'm just gonna buy everything. Like, I really do feel like he has enough studios at this point where he should like focus on just making sure they're making good games. You know what I'm saying? Like, have some really strong IPs, like newer IPs, and sell Xbox consoles that way. If you just keep buying companies, like, it doesn't really feel like an Xbox brand. It's just like, it's like Starfield, right? Like, I don't really associate Bethesda with Xbox that much. It's more like it's just a Bethesda game, not like it's not like how I associate like Naughty Dog as like a Sony thing either. Like, it's like Naughty Dog and Sony are like pretty connected together, so like I count them as both. But with Bethesda, it's still just a Bethesda game. I don't really count it as like an Xbox IP or anything. So I don't know. I feel like he should focus on that more so than just buying literally every company. So yeah.
I mean, the leaked email definitely showed some things that did come to be true, such as them buying ZeniMax Studios, which is Bethesda. So, and this is a email chain that he sent at 12 in the morning. Subject line, random thought. So, he could have just been bullshitting here. But at the same time, him being like, I want to buy Nintendo is kind of crazy. I mean, obviously it would be a career moment for fucking anyone. But if you look back on history, they tried to do that when Xbox was first coming out, and then they got laughed at the door. So, for them to even try it again or even think about it, I think is very funny. And like you said, this is during 2020 where the Wii or the Nintendo Switch was, thriving and being successful in its own right. Animal Crossing came out that year and, it was doing well. And pretty much there was no Nintendo Switches on store shelves because of that game, and people wanted to play it during the pandemic. So for them to be like, let's try to buy them again. I mean, it's probably never going to happen because Nintendo have always done their own thing. They've always been successful doing their own thing. And I feel like them taking orders from someone else would just not work out for them because they like piloting their own shit. They like doing things their own way, even if it's not the most optimized way. People will still consume it. People will still enjoy Nintendo Switch Online for what it is. People will still enjoy Nintendo games for what they are because they make good games, and that sort of brand quality and that sort of name recognition is still there all these years later. I think Nintendo was like 30 at this point or whatever. I think they recently celebrated their birthday or some shit like that. But yeah, for them to even think about it, it's kind of funny. But will it ever happen? I don't think so. I think Phil Spencer should just give this dream up and, like you said, just try to focus on the studios that they do have instead of just like providing money to them, but also maybe give them guidance in terms of like what they should do. Because I think that's what he wants from Nintendo is to just own them and then just have the games sit on Xbox and then be like, I just use the Xbox technology and then just rake us in money. But in reality, you have literally all of these studios that probably don't have a good idea of what they're doing, or maybe not exactly have a strong idea of like what their game should be and what makes it good. Not to say that they're stupid or dumb or whatever, but they're Microsoft. They know what makes good games and what will sell for their consoles, hopefully. And maybe they could give them guidance that way. And
I do find it funny how Phil Spencer thought. He's like, oh, we're gonna crush the PS5 because this was also leaked. He's like, don't worry, guys. The Xbox Series X is so much better than the PS5, and then they basically like fucking lost this generation like immediately because like no one was buying Xboxes and everyone was buying PS5s. So I thought that was pretty funny as well.
I mean, everything that I guess like the off comments that he was saying about also like Baldur's Gate 3, where he didn't think it was gonna be like I guess like as successful as it is now, which I think that. Yeah, to be fair, he was most likely right back then. Obviously now, hindsight's, very different. But I think that, them, I guess, having all of these off comments sort of, leaked is just kind of funny. And also, he did kind of be like, it sucks that, all of this shit came out like that, but, it is what it is.
He does have pretty bad foresight now that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
There's like, everything he said, like, did not go the way he thought it would go. So that's pretty unfortunate. But again, with Baldur's Gate 3, I think no one saw that coming. Like I thought that game was gonna be an underrated gem this year. I'm like no one's gonna play this. But then everyone fucking played it, so I was wrong on that too. Because I'm like this game looks cool, but yeah. But yeah, besides that, we had some like more just leaked like remasters and stuff like Fallout 3 and Oblivion remasters may come out. Red Dead Redemption 2 might get a next gen version as well. So that's exciting if you're looking forward to that. But again, none of this is confirmed either. Like this is all like I think 2 years old at this point. I think these are all from like 2021 or something. So obviously plans change and stuff. So we'll see if any of this stuff ends up being true or like comes out the way we think it would come out. But yeah, it's very interesting insight into like what's going on over at Xbox. And like I said, the foresight isn't like that great either. So
yeah, maybe whatever Phil Spencer says, they should be like, all right, so let's do the opposite. Like,
yeah, let's do the opposite of what Phil Spencer's thinking.
Let's just not do what he said, and it'll work out, guys. I swear. But I guess with just like the console wars and just like the console generations in general, I feel like Xbox has been behind on like everything ever since the whole used games debacle with the Xbox One. With them being like, it's always going to be online, and then like if you want to play games offline, we have that. It's called the Xbox 360 or whatever. Obviously, they fired that guy, but whatever damage was done during that E3 presentation was done, and it's still taking its effects today because PlayStation got such a big lead during that, I guess, one day where it was like, all right, we're going to go second, and then we're just going to announce that used games are going to stay, and then we're just going to win out. And like that's pretty much what happened. And obviously, I think towards the end of the PlayStation 3 as well, that they were able to get all of these like really good like high-end exclusives like The Last of Us. Like that pretty much has defined their console generations up until now even. We got the fucking Last of Us Part 1 remaster, and they're still utilizing that IP to this day. So I feel like, ever since that moment, that day at E3, Xbox has just been behind, and they've been trying to play catch up ever since. And will they ever? It will happen eventually. I think that will inevitably come, but when will it happen? Who the fuck knows?
Yeah, I guess we'll see. Microsoft had such a big lead during the 360 era. Like they were like the biggest one. Well, I mean the Wii was, but you know what I mean. But between the 360 and PS3. Yeah. And then they basically just lost it all, and they've never been able to catch back up, really. Like, I hear way more people, like, wanting a PS5 or having a PS5 than anyone with an Xbox Series X. Like, I don't really hear, like, anyone with one. I asked anyone at work or school, I was like, yeah, like, I want a PS5. Like, I don't want a fucking Xbox. So, yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like they really have to change something up, which it looks like they're trying to do with the next gen for Xbox. But, yeah, it ain't looking so good because all they want to do is buy people. So, yeah.
But on the contrary, I will say, if you are trying to get into gaming, like just like in general on like a quote unquote budget, you could get the Series S, you could get Game Pass, and then just go from there. And hopefully you'll find something in there that you'll enjoy with gaming. And then otherwise, well, now you have a Series S. So
yeah, like I mostly just want Xbox Series X to like play like Sonic Unleashed in like 60 frames or something. And that's literally the only reason why I would want one. And like just the backwards compatibility in general. But yeah, it's not really like a great time to be just like an Xbox owner. So
yeah. But I guess we'll move on from there, from those fucking big ass leaks. Now we're gonna get into the general gaming news. So first up,